This video is going to be a little bit different because in this video, I wanted to talk about why I ended up wanting to coach people through CeMAP, what brought me here, and why you should consider using me as a CeMAP coach if you are serious about getting qualified this year. Now, I never intended to start a business to help people get CeMAP qualified, and I'll start there because every single day, people message me and they go, Charlotte, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you want to do this as a job? CeMAP is so boring and it's so hard. What brought you here? And actually, what brought me here is I went through the journey that a lot of you guys will probably be going through now, as in I tried to get CeMAP qualified and I couldn't. But I'll come on to that. Let me explain a little bit before that, because I have a feeling a lot of you are going to resonate with this as well. When I got pregnant with my daughter, I realized very quickly that a £27,000 a year job probably wasn't going to afford us the lifestyle that I wanted to bring up a kid on my own. I was working in the mortgage space at the time as what's called a customer success manager. So I wasn't doing mortgages, but I was very closely involved with the mortgage advisors. And I'd seen some of the salaries that the mortgage advisors were taking home and thought, that's it, that's the route, that's what I'm going to take. I'd also seen a lot of mortgage advisors go self-employed and do very well with it. So it seemed like a win-win whether you wanted to be in employment and have the safety net of sick pay and holidays and all that, or go down the self-employed route, still earn good money, but still be able to do the school run. And I think that for me was the kicker of, I want to be able to drop my kid off at school and I want to be able to pick her up at 3 o'clock, which is a very short working day. What gives me the opportunity to do that? And everything just fell towards mortgages. So I started my CeMAP journey, as does everybody, by registering for the exam online and getting the textbook in the post and going, oh my God, what do I do with this? But I did try with the textbook for about 6 months, and I would be really diligent. I would sit down every evening and do just a chapter, and I would highlight random bits from the chapter, having no idea what I was meant to be focusing on, but really trying. I wasn't just sat there with the TV on in the background doing bits. It was focused study, and I thought that that would be enough. So going into my first CeMAP 1 exam, I did feel quietly confident about it, and then it was awful. I didn't understand what they were asking me. I felt like there was a time pressure. I actually felt like I'd been reading the wrong textbook for the whole of my studies because the question felt so difficult, and it really, really knocked my confidence. And I kind of put the whole idea to bed for a little bit. I think I was gutted because I told people that I worked with that was sitting CeMAP and that I'd been studying for 6 months and I still failed. And when I say spectacularly, it was pretty spectacular. It was probably some of the lowest grades I've ever seen after 4 years of teaching people to get CeMAP qualified. So I put it to bed for a little bit. My daughter was born. I said that I would study whilst I was on maternity leave, which of course didn't happen. And then before I knew it, I was going back to work, and I had a week left between my daughter starting nursery and me going back to work. So I thought, okay, this week, I've got 7 days. I booked myself onto a fast track course. It was a 5-day intensive course, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 over Zoom with a very reputable company. And it was so hard. I sat there for 8 hours a day on Zoom with 30 other people who all had their cameras off, watching somebody read off loads of words on a screen. And every time you tried to ask a question, because there were 30 people in the room, they were like, there's no time for questions if you want to get through the material. So I did my best. I did what I could. I sat the exam on the weekend and I still failed pretty spectacularly. And that, for me, that was the low point, because I felt like I'd done the work twice, because I had tried with the textbook and then I tried with a fast track course. And when I reached out to the provider and said, look, something hasn't clicked. Is there any other support you can give me to help with this, because it's not worked for me? They turned around and they said, yeah, you can pay for another 5-day fast track course, which was a lot of money. It was more money than I had at the time. Now, unfortunately, I'd also booked on a CeMAP 2 and 3 fast track course with them, and I was committed to doing it. So I thought, actually, I'll put CeMAP 1 to bed. It must just be really hard. I'll come back to CeMAP 1. I'll move on to CeMAP 2 and 3 and get over the line with it. I booked a week off work, and then on the Sunday night, my daughter went into hospital. So on the Monday morning, I called them and said, I'm really sorry. Can I reschedule to any other course date that I can make work? And they said no. And at that point, I just felt frustrated, and I felt failed by a system that I'd ploughed all of my money into and still hadn't gotten anything out of it. And it was out of pure frustration on the phone to somebody. And I said, I feel like I've been let down and there's nowhere that I can go. And I can't be the only person. Like, I feel like if I did this as a course and built material to help people, I could do it better than the company that I just paid over £1,000 to do it with. And the person I was on the phone to turned around and said, well, then do it. So I set up a podcast, which is the podcast that you guys can now watch on YouTube or listen to on Spotify. And that was with a bottle of wine, a £7 microphone, and my best friend. And at that point, when I started that podcast, I still hadn't passed the exams, but I wanted to work through it chapter by chapter of the textbooks to try and break them down. And within 3 weeks of me releasing that podcast, having no idea how to edit audio files or create anything online, I connected it to an Instagram page, and I had messages from people all over the country being like, Charlotte, that podcast episode was brilliant. Can you help me get CeMAP qualified? And that's where it started. It wasn't through a business idea. It was through a need to want to help people so that nobody ever felt as stuck as I did. And then from there, it just grew. So it started with the podcast. I then started to build a course for people that I would do in the evenings after I put my daughter to bed. I was still working at the mortgage company at the time. And I released it on Instagram for £250 for people to want to come and sit this course with me for a week. And I put everything into that course. And I ran that first week course and everybody passed. And I was like, that's it. I've got the key. I quit my job. I think I made my first £150 sale and I quit my job and then decided that this is what I was going to do. And that was 3.5 years ago. And now I look back and I've helped thousands of students get over the line with CeMAP in loads of different ways. One thing that people keep coming back to me and saying is, Charlotte, why do you keep giving people your WhatsApp number and then saying, I've got 217 unread messages, but I'll get back to everybody as quick as I can? It's because for me, I want there to be as few barriers to helping people as possible. So you can WhatsApp me whether you've paid for a product or not. There is no wall where I say, actually, I'm not going to reply to your messages because you haven't spent any money here. Actually, I say to everybody, send me a WhatsApp message. Let me send you all of my free stuff. And then if you want to spend money, the option is there. But actually, for most customers that come to me, I say, do you know what? Actually, based on where you're up to, you will probably be fine by doing this, this, and this with the free stuff and giving it a go. But if you want to pay for support, here's the options. So if you're studying for CeMAP, no matter where you're up to in your journey, if you've never heard of CeMAP before and this is the first time that you're speaking to somebody or you're watching anything about it, or whether you've failed your exams a good few times, maybe it's just the once, I am here to support you with whatever you need. I have a completely free WhatsApp community that's got over 400 students in there that are currently studying for CeMAP. It's a really good place to be. Everybody shares their experiences, their struggles. I do occasionally offer completely free training sessions, which I'm hoping to bring back this year. I have self-paced e-learning platforms that you can download and you can work through at your own time. You'll still have the WhatsApp support from me. I offer 6-week courses that mean that you can get through your CeMAP exams without having to take any time off work, which was the biggest bit of feedback I used to get from students from the 5-day fast track courses. And I do currently have availability in my diary for one-on-one coaching. So if any of that is of interest to you, I will link everything below. Thanks for watching. And if you've liked this video, please make sure you give it a like, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel.